pick one fight. What is the mega fight in the sport? Teofimo Lopez versus who in a couple of years or next year?
I don't even know. Devin Haney. I would say Devin Haney.
Who would you like to fight at? Obviously some attractive options there at lightweight. Who would you like to fight the most?
I don't mind being the two-time email world champion. You know what I mean? That'll be fine. You know, I know a lot of people are already saying that this is not for Undisputed because of that. Whatever with Mauricio Suleiman and whatever he did, but I just got a belt that said franchise world champion. So from the WBC, and you got a guy like Devin Haney fighting Gamboa, a washed-out Gamboa, just for a record that he wants to keep it safe and pretty. I can fight those guys. I don't mind it.
Do you think Haney would fight you next, assuming he beats Gamboa?
I don't care. I don't think any of these guys will step up to the plate. And if they do, they better be ready. Because I don't fear no man. I told you guys this. I don't care. I'm in there to fight. And if you're not there to fight with me, you're going to lose.
Thank
like
you.
Loma. Like, if I take that fight, it's just for bragging rights, just to shut him up and destroy his career. That's really what it is. I don't care. That's the type of person I am. I ain't here to I'm not here to see another fighter build up his career. If he wants to take that step and fight, I'm more than happy to just take him out that route of what everybody's talking about, saying the next Floyd Mayweather and stuff like that. Yeah, get out of here with that bullshit.
Teofimo Lopez is the one with the rest of the belts, so that's the main fight that I want to make happen.
But when it comes to Devin, I got to think about it. Devin has not a long way. He got like maybe 3 to 5 years to get to that point to where we can make that fight happen. 3 to 5 years to where we can make that fight happen.
You breaking my heart, Teo. You breaking my heart. Teofimo Lopez does a 360 on the fans. He called out Devin Haney after his win over Lomachenko, in which he stated, "A lot of people say I'm not the undisputed champion because of Devin Haney WBC title and what Suleiman did with the WBC. So if Devin Haney won it, we can fight next for undisputed. I will end his career, but these guys don't want to fight me. However, if they do step up to the plate, I'm going to do to them what I did to Lomachenko. They're going to have the same faith. Therefore, if Devin Haney want me to end his career, so be it." Few moments later, Devin Haney accepted Teofimo's challenge. Matter of fact, Devin Haney, after the Gamboa victory, he went out of his way to make it clear that the main fight he want next is Teofimo Lopez for undisputed. Shortly after, Teofimo Lopez performed his most impressive upside down flip to this day when it came to his comments. In other words, he retracted his statements in no time. Teofimo Lopez came out the other day claiming that he is not fighting Devin Haney anytime soon. Matter of fact, Teo stated he sees himself fighting Devin Haney 3 to 5 years from now for multiple reasons, such as he's doing all the heavy lifting himself, so on and so forth. So we are gonna dissect every single reason. But it's fair to say that these statements and comments by Teofimo Lopez did not age well. They only lived for a couple months. I'll tell you one thing, that expire date came sooner than expected. However, on the other hand, everything Devin Haney said holds weight. It aged well. For example, when Devin Haney said all this email talk is Teofimo Lopez brainwashing the fans, because it was Teo who petitioned for the WBC French Fries title. In other words, he requested it through email. So who is really the email champion in this equation? So if Teofimo Lopez wants his dream to become a reality by becoming truly undisputed, he has to fight Devin Haney in order to be undisputed. And ironically enough, Devin Haney's nickname is The Dream. Now, if Teofimo does not want to live up to Devin Haney's nickname, the least thing he could do is live up to his own nickname, the takeover. And the only way to do so is that he must pursue a fight for Undisputed with Devin Haney in order to collect the last missing piece of the puzzle, which is the WBC strap, in order to truly be undisputed. That way, he can actually live up to his own nickname, the Takeover. For the moment, he's only taking parts, which is a bad look on Teofimo Lopez's behalf. Devin Haney has him looking really shaky right now. Devin made Nomaschenko go from that nickname to Nomachenko. Now Teofimo Lopez went from the Takeover to Teofimo taking parts for now, Lopez may be taking over later, which is a terrible look on the fighter that's supposedly the Duran of our time. Because one thing about Duran, win or lose, he fought everybody. He might have lost to the Fabulous Four, every single one of them, but you best believe he fought every single one. Matter of fact, Duran went out of his way to fight the best. On the other hand, Teofimo Lopez, he was going on the right track. Now he done made a U-turn on all of his fans. I mean, he breaking our hearts, to say the least. See, when Teo Lopez says things like, the Devin Haney fight is not going to happen till 3 to 5 years from now, he's putting a lot of pressure on himself because it's clear as day Teo is not challenging all comers. He's picking and choosing his battles. But regardless of either or, from this point forward, every single Teofimo Lopez opponent has to be a more accomplished name than Devin Haney. So good luck finding better opponents than Devin Haney till 5 years from now. I'm starting to think when Teofimo Lopez said the takeover, he probably didn't mean take over the world. He probably meant take over the city. Because as soon as he saw Devin Haney at the borderline, he made that U-turn real quick. Therefore, for once and for all, I'm going to go ahead and prove that Teofimo Lopez is only a unified champion. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a great accomplishment. But one thing we will always do is tell the whole absolute truth. We're going to call a spade a spade. If Teofimo Lopez is a unified champion, so be it. We're going to call him a unified champion. If Teofimo Lopez wants to be undisputed, then he's going to have to earn it and fight Devin Haney in order to become an undisputed champion. In order to achieve his dream, he has to go through the dream himself. So Teofimo came out and said on Brian Custer's interview that everyone is entitled to their own opinion. A lot of casual fans are confused. They believe Devin Haney is the real WBC champion and I'm just a unified champion. However, the hardcore boxing fans, they know that I'm the undisputed champion. With that being said, that's as backward as you're gonna get. I think Teofimo been doing a whole lot of flips lately because it's exactly the other way around. When ESPN was falsely advertising Teofimo as undisputed, they were only fooling the casual fans. The hardcore boxing fans know Devin Haney is the real WBC champion because Nomachenko requested a French fries belt, a witness protection belt, equivalence of that belt you purchase from Walmart in order to keep your pants up. Just to save face in order to avoid Devin Haney. That was the whole purpose of a French fries belt. Because as a real champion, you cannot purchase a belt, especially a belt that did not exist a year ago. Even worse, a belt that's about to go extinguished as soon as Teofimo Lopez moves to 140. Like I said before, the boxing world know Lomachenko got stripped of the WBC title in order to avoid Devin Haney. However, to save face, he paid for this French fries belt that arrived in a lunchbox. Furthermore, Teofimo Lopez is better off getting rid of that French fries belt, because ESPN, Top Rank, and the WBC, they have Teofimo Lopez out here contradicting himself every other breath, trying to convince the boxing world that he's the undisputed champion. Truth be told, no one had really asked Teofimo any of the tough questions, any of the real questions, and he's still contradicting himself. Now imagine if Teofimo Lopez is a fighter on the coincidental list and they put him in the hot seat, the way old media does to every single fighter on the coincidental list. Is it too much to ask to have a journalist point out two statements by Teofimo Lopez and put them together in which he contradicted himself? That's not too much to ask, is it? See, a real journalist will always ask the right questions. However, old media, they play by their own rules, the rules of the double standards. You best believe if the roles are reversed, they will be asking Devin Haney all type of tough questions. But the unique thing about Devin Haney, there isn't any tough question because he's a free smoke fighter. Now, when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, the reason why he's not the undisputed champion is because the WBC French fries title is not recognized as the world title. In other words, per organization, they only could select one title to be recognized as the championship of that organization. Only one fighter can be chosen to be recognized as the champion of a particular organization. This rule applies to every single organization, from the IBF to the WBA to the WBO, including the WBC. With that being in mind, these organizations does not recognize the franchise title as a legit title because the WBC themselves chose the regular title as the title that represents the organization as their world champion. Therefore, the WBC franchise champion cannot unify with other organizations simply because the other organizations don't recognize the franchise title as a world title. It's more of an interim title status that can be activated at any time to become a fighter's mandatory. At least that's according to the WBC. So, a fighter cannot unify with other champions with the franchise title being on the line, because that's equivalence of having an interim title on the line. With the facts being stated, regardless of how many times Teofimo Lopez repeat himself to convince his fans that he's the WBC champion, he definitely can change the mind of his fans at the moment. However, he can never change the history books. Teofimo Lopez claiming he's the WBC champion is equivalence of Ryan Garcia claiming he's the WBC champion. Regardless of how many times Lopez repeat himself in order to find a valid explanation, at the end of the day, the facts will remain the same. Regardless of a mad, crazy man trying to convince me that 1 + 1 is 3, the facts will always remain that 1 + 1 is 2. So as far as I know, this is nothing but waste of energy by Teofimo Lopez, because all of the websites from BoxRec to Wikipedia and any website you can name in the sport of boxing, they all have the WBC champion listed as Devin Haney, including ESPN, the network Teofimo fights on. See, they have Teofimo listed as the WBA champion, not Gervonta, but at the WBC slot, they recognize Devin Haney as the real WBC champion because even ESPN know what time it is. BoxRec recognize Devin Haney as the real WBC champion. They only recognize Teofimo as the IBF, the WBA, and the WBO champion. Therefore, If every single website in the sport of boxing recognized Devin Haney as the WBC champion, when the history books recognize Devin Haney as the WBC champion, it's beyond me that Teofimo Lopez still pushing the false narrative of him being undisputed with a WBC title, when that been debunked a long time ago. To make matter worse, Teofimo Lopez's best comeback is that I'm paying sectioning fees to the WBC. So why are they taking my money then? Like I said before, you gotta be careful not to get pimped out by these organizations. Boxing is a dirty game. Therefore, if you don't need witness protection, why are you paying for witness protection then? All you have to do in order to achieve your dream is fight Devin Haney, unless that's never been part of the plan. Therefore, the witness protection plan will work for now. So when Teo Lopez says everybody is entitled to their own opinion, he's absolutely right. If his opinion, he's the undisputed champion, so be it. However, facts trump opinion any given day of the week. I'm pretty sure if you ask Trump right now, do you think you won the election? He gonna say, absolutely. In my opinion, I won the election. In my opinion, I am the president. I should be the president for the next term. However, reality says otherwise. Reality says Joe Biden won the election. So regardless if Trump repeat himself a million times that he won the election, he's entitled to his own opinion. However, facts trump opinions, and Joe Biden won the election. That's the truth. The truth is backed up by facts. The truth can be proven. The truth is not backed up by opinions, because opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. Therefore, if Teofimo Lopez doesn't get it together, he's about to become the Trump of the boxing world. Once reality hit real soon, the moment he receives the French fries belt in a lunchbox instead of in a bag. Just like when Trump gets a reality check the moment he gets kicked out of office. Furthermore, it makes no sense at all for Teofimo Lopez to keep dissing Devin Haney by calling him an email champion, then turn around to request a French fries title through email. What sense does that make? Teofimo went from saying if Devin Haney wanted, he could get it, to this fight is not going to happen till a half a decade from now. Now, really, what sense does that make? The least thing you could do after calling someone an email champion that's stopping you from becoming undisputed in order to complete the takeover is at least fight Devin Haney, if not next, then in 2021. However, to just completely dismiss Devin Haney. However, Teofimo will turn around and call out Ryan Garcia, though. A fighter that doesn't have a belt. A fighter that has great potential, don't get me wrong. But truth be told, a fighter that have beat no one yet. He has an upcoming fight with Luke Campbell. It's supposed to be a good fight. But even Ryan Garcia came out and said Luke Campbell is known for losing all of his big fights. He does not want to be known for that. But let Teo tell it. All Ryan Garcia have to do is beat a Luke Campbell to earn a shot with him. But Devin Haney, on the other hand, regardless if he have a belt, regardless if he have the last missing piece of the puzzle, oh nah, he's gonna have to work for half a decade just to earn a fight. Why doesn't the same rules apply to Devin Haney as well? How come they have to change the rules when it comes to Devin Haney? Even though Devin Haney is making millions per fight. More than Ryan Garcia is making per fight. And that's a fact. Devin Haney a champion, Ryan Garcia is not. Devin Haney been a main event fighter on his own card before Ryan Garcia have. Furthermore, if we talking about clout, Devin even had clout more than Teo did right before the Lomachenko fight, if we all being honest. Since Devin was 15, 16 years old, he will do pads with Floyd Mayweather Sr. and that gets 1 million views. He will argue with a trainer, that gets 1 million views. He will spar, that will get 1 million views. So what are we even talking about? If we talking money, Devin brings plenty of that to the table. If we talking numbers, Devin also brings a whole lot of that to the table. If we talking skills, Devin Haney brings too much of that to the table. But maybe that's where it went wrong. Maybe that's where it went sideways. Maybe Devin Haney brings too much of that to the table. Because it makes no sense for Teo to demand Devin Haney to prove himself for 5 years from now. However, he want Ryan Garcia next. Even Lomachenko didn't tell Teofimo Lopez, you got to prove yourself for half a decade before you earn a fight with me. All Teo had to do is knock out Comey, and he automatically earned a shot with Lomachenko. But when it comes to that Devin Haney, he brings everything to the table. And all they got to say in return, you have to prove yourself for half a decade. That's why Devin Haney is the A-class boogeyman in the sport of boxing. Hate him or love him, you have to respect him. Because even your favorite fighters, they respect him. If they didn't, he would have been in front of the line, not at the back of the line. He wouldn't have had to wait a decade to get a fight. That's why he the A-class boogeyman in the sport of boxing. See, to be the boogeyman, you have to be the most feared in your division or in boxing as a whole, in which that's what Devin Haney turning out to be. Because being the boogeyman is not about knockout power. It's not about performances. It's actually about who's willing to fight you next. Are you the most feared in your division? However, when it comes to Devin, he took it one step further. He the most feared in boxing. Man, I remember Gary Russell. He was out here terrorizing people. He got so confident, he started calling out Terrence Crawford the pound-for-pound #1 in the sport today. It wasn't until Devin Haney picked up the phone and had Gary Russell backtracking by surrendering his boogie status to the A-class boogeyman of them all, Devin Haney. And that's exactly what Devin Haney did to Teo. See, Teo talks a good game. However, you have to walk the walk if you're going to talk the talk. See, you could talk like you MJ all day. However, at the end of the day, you have to show up at the court to prove that you can play like MJ. But not to show up at the court at all, while the fighter that's projected to be the Kobe in the sport of boxing, Devin Haney, is at the court day and night, ready to hoop, ready to shoot, ready to dunk on Teo, and Teo still a no-show till this day, is just not a good look on Teo Lopez's behalf. We actually see Devin Haney trying his best to prove that the projection of him being the Kobe in the sport of boxing is 100% accurate. You see him at the court daily, waiting for someone to call out his name so he could hop in the ring in order to fight them. I'm not hyping up Devin Haney. These fighters are hyping up Devin Haney because you cannot name me one fighter that's willing to fight him next. That proves that he's the A-class boogeyman in the sport of boxing, especially with the type of money he's generating at 21, 22 years old. That's why we all know what time it is. Just like Teo Sr. said, his dream fight for his son is Devin Haney 3-5 years from now. And Teofimo Lopez basically co-signed his dad. However, he likes to talk trash in the process. But nevertheless, he's no fool. He's treating Devin Haney like he's the most dangerous rival of his. That's pretty much the summary of everything Teofimo Lopez been saying, which co-signs what Devin Haney been saying is all smoke and mirrors. Therefore, when Teo says Devin Haney is an email champion, you got to take that with a grain of salt, because Teofimo Lopez is treating Devin Haney like the probability of Teo beating Devin is way lower than Devin beating Teo. With that being stated, Team Haney is going to pull up today to split decision. Therefore, if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comment section or DM me all the questions on Instagram. Last but not least, all the Teofimo Lopez fans that called in, every single one of you, I have you guys on tape claiming that if Teo doesn't fight Devin Haney next, then he's ducking Devin Haney, because a unification will always trump a mandatory. So we need all of you guys to call in order to make this segment. Here's what they think about you. I want the Teofimo fans to confess to the world what they've been saying about Teo. Keep the same energy. Don't flip. Subscribe below if you're trying to get smart about a minute. If you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't. And listen to these decafs. The dumb, casual-ass fans that don't know shit about boxing. Word to Roger Mayweather, may he rest in peace. Like Teo said, everybody want to be Money Mayweather, but nobody want to be Pretty Boy Floyd. Ironically, though, when Pretty Boy beat Hernandez and Corrales, he maintained to be the boogeyman for a whole decade, fighting everybody, till he became the Money Mayweather. He didn't just beat a Corrales and went Hollywood. That's not how Mayweather became Money May. It took a lot of hard work and dedication over a decade. So far, Teo, he haven't even had an A boogeyman stage, because Tank calling out Teo, Ryan calling out Teo, Mikey calling out Teo, Devin calling out Teo, every single fighter in the game calling out Teo. Usually that's not a good thing. It means you the man, but also maybe you're a little bit vulnerable. So Teo has a lot to prove, which is to live up to his own statements. I don't think that's too much to ask, in order for him to show that he's the Duran of our time. And to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, Akhi, TV. Peace, and we are check.